Today in this video, we read Chapter 3 Awakening the Third Eye. More about the third eye. A useful hint is to consider the eye as a patch or a 50-cent coin on the forehead. In reality, the third eye is more like a pipe or a tunnel, going from the area between the eyebrows to the occipital bone at the back of the head. The tunnel of the third eye. Along the tunnel are a number of centers of energy, through which one can connect with different worlds and areas of consciousness. This explains why different systems may locate the third eye in different places. Each of them chooses a different center along the pipe, or even a structure of energy adjacent to the tunnel, as a reference point. Another important point to keep in mind is that the third eye isn't physical. The grossest part of the third eye is a structure of energy belonging to the etheric body or layer of life force. The etheric body has many connections with the physical body, and for the third eye, being the main switch of the etheric body, is also closely connected to certain structures of the physical body, for instance the pituitary and pineal glands. However, it would be oversimplified to say that the third eye is the pineal gland or the pituitary gland, as stated by certain books. As explained before, the tunnel of the third eye is not physical. It impacts its energy on a number of structures of the physical body, including the frontal sinus, the optic nerves and the chiasma, the nerves of the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone, the pituitary and pineal glands, some of the nuclei at the center of the brain, the ventricles of the brain, and others. It would be far too simplistic and limiting to pick one of these physical structures and label it third eye. Once more, the third eye is not physical. It is an organ of energy. It may have some privileged connections with certain physical structures, but it cannot be limited to any of them. In the beginning, do not worry about any other part of Thetanol. Just remain aware between the eyebrows. One has to start somewhere, and this particular center between the eyebrows has the great advantage of creating a protective energy all around you in your aura as soon as you activate it. Other centers of the pipe will be introduced later. So in this book, whenever we talk about the eye, we mean the area between the eyebrows. That does not mean the area between the eyebrows is the whole third eye, of course. But in the early stages of our training, it is the area we will use and develop as the main switch, the place to remain aware of permanently. If you get sensations in other areas of the head, don't try to suppress them, but don't pay attention to them either. Keep your focus between the eyebrows. Third eye meditation. Let us now start our main technique of meditation. The initial stages of this meditation process are not intended to project you into spectacular states of transcendence, but to work at building up the third eye systematically and later on to achieve true inner silence. As will be discussed in Chapter 9 on awareness, one of the principles of our approach is that one cannot fight mentally against the mind. One cannot force the mind into being silent. Butoni can build a structure beyond the mind, from which the mind can be mastered. In that sense, the third eye can be compared to a control tower, similar to that of the 20th hexagram of the I Ching. The first phases of this meditation process aim at structuring the third eye and imprinting it as tangibly as possible into your system. Phases 4 and 5 deal with the inner space and the mysterious vortex. During the first weeks of your practice, to simplify, you may decide to bypass phase 5, the vortex, going straight from the face on the space to the non-technique or meditation proper, when you remain just aware above the head. Preparation: remove shoes, belt, tie and watch. Sit cross-legged on the floor or on a chair with your back straight. You do not have to be on the floor, but your back should be very straight. If you sit on a chair, it is preferable not to lean back against it, so that you allow a free flow of energies. Meditation phase 1. The larynx of energy. Close your eyes. Keep your eyes closed until the end of the meditation. Start breathing with the throat friction section to point 1. The friction breathing generates a vibration in the throat. Become aware of the vibration in the larynx. Use the friction to intensify the vibration in the larynx. The vibration in the throat is made of two parts, one physical, created by the mechanical action of the breathing, and a more subtle one, like a tingling, that can still be perceived when you stop the breath. Use the throat friction to intensify the non-physical tingling. Adjust the position of your spine. Look for the absolute upritance. Align the neck with the rest of your back and quest of a perfectly straight posture. Make sure that the head, the neck and the rest of the back are in a straight line. Watch how the vibration in the larynx and the flow of energy in throat can be enhanced by getting as close as possible to a perfectly vertical posture. Cultivate stillness. Meditation phase 2. Vibration in the eye. Keep on breathing with the throat friction, but drop the awareness of the throat. Become aware of the vibration between thighbrows. Connect the vibration in the eye between the eyebrows with throat friction. If you are not too sure of what connecting means, just remain aware of both at the same time, the throat friction and the vibration between the eyebrows. Very quickly, it will become clear that a certain interaction takes place between the throat and the eye. That is what is meant by connecting. Phase 2 consists of using the throat friction as an amplifier to cultivate and build up the vibration in the eye. If you have the choice between heavy density and subtle tingling, rather go for the tingling. Avoid grasping. Keep the experience light. Meditation phase 3. Light in the eye. Maintain the throat friction. The eyes remain closed till the end of the meditation. Drop the awareness of the vibration. Instead, start looking between thighbrows for a fog or a haze, a glow, or any form of light or color. All of these can be regarded as different modalities of the light, which of course, in the context of this book, does not refer to physical light but to spiritual light, perceived with your eyes closed. Remember, no imagination, no visualization, just awareness of what is in front of you. As soon as you perceive any of these modalities of light, fog, glow, color, even very vaguely, connect it with the throat friction. Just as in phase 2 you were connecting the friction with the vibration between the eyebrows, you are now connecting the friction with the light. Instead of amplifying the vibration, you are now working at amplifying the light. As you go on practicing, you will perceive brighter and brighter parts of the light. Gradually drop the awareness of the hazier parts to focus on the most shining ones. Connect your amplifier friction with the most luminous part of the light. A common experience is that of tiny shining particles of light spread in the space in front of you and drifting in various directions. As you connect the friction with these luminous particles, some will enter you and go straight into your heart, feeding it with a precious energy. Meditation phase 4. Awareness in the space. Remain in the eye, between the eyebrows. Instead of focusing on the light itself and on its shining particles, become aware of the background of the light. The darkness or purple light at the background of all the colors will give you the feeling of a space extending in front of you. The space may appear purple, dark blue, or even just dark. More than the color, it is the feeling of expanse that matters. Just remain aware in the space. Let yourself be absorbed in it. At this stage, the throat friction can be decreased or even dropped. Start breathing with the friction again. If the mind goes wandering with thoughts. Meditation phase 5. Spinning in the space. Start spinning into the space in front of you, spiraling forwards and clockwise, as if you were falling forwards into a tunnel. Spin as if you were caught in a vortex. The vortex is there, in the space, waiting for you. Do not try to make up a spiraling movement. Rather, let yourself be caught by the vortex and carried by its natural motion. As you go on spinning, the qualities and color of the space will sometimes change, as if you were projected into a completely different area. Just acknowledge the various feelings and continue with the vortex. From time to time, or even constantly if you wish, you may use throat friction to amplify the vortex effect. Non-technique would drop any awareness of the breath of the eye of the space. Just become aware above the head. Doing nothing, looking for nothing, being just aware. Not even aware of yourself, just aware. Remain extremely motionless. Practice the art of losing control. Let the awareness take over above the head. Coming back and finishing the meditation, become aware again between the eyebrows. Listen to the sounds outside. Become aware of your body. Take a few long inhalations. Take as much time as you wish to come back fully, and then click the fingers of the right hand and open the eyes. Tips. Phase 1. Vibration in the larynx. It does not matter if in the beginning you find it difficult to separate the physical vibration from the non-physical one. It is now to get a vague sense of the vibration, both physical and non-physical, for the process to follow its course. Anyway, trying to be too precise, your mind would probably get in the way and block the process. All that is related to the vibration will probably become clearer after reading chapters 4, 6, and 8 and practicing the channel release techniques. In the beginning, it may be helpful to place your hand close to your throat, about 1 inch away, to enhance the feeling of energy in this area. Later on, this won't be necessary. For this practice, as for any work on the larynx of energy, it is crucial for the neck to be as vertical as possible. What obvious differences can one observe between the bodies of animals and those of human beings? A major one is that the human spine is vertical, while animals live mostly in a horizontal position. Similarly, while animals have a larynx, it is not vertical. This gives us a clue about the importance of verticality for the larynx to achieve its cosmic status in connection with the spirit. Another clue can be found by perceiving what happens when you implement the first phase of the meditation. As soon as you reach a perfectly vertical position of the neck, a sudden enhancement of vibration takes place in your larynx. Tips: phase to vibration in the eye. The larynx of energy acts as an amplifier and a giver of shape. By connecting the area between the eyebrows with the friction coming from the throat, you work at building up the third eye. In terms of experience, the intensification of the vibration in the eye that takes place as soon as you connect it with the friction indicates that the action of the larynx is taking place. As explained before, the vibration can also be felt as a tingling, a pressure, a density. This phase works at building the etheric layer off the third eye. Tips: phase 3, light in the eye. In the beginning, connecting the light in the eye with that throat friction just means feeling the two simultaneously. Then it automatically happens that an exchange takes place between Thetwo, by which the energy generated by the throat friction is communicated to the part of your third eye that perceives light. In practice, the experience is quite simple. The friction seems to feed the light, to make it more tangible and brighter, which is another example of how the larynx can be used to give shape. Most of the students who think they can't see the light actualize it but don't recognize it. You have to accept that in the beginning, the feeling of light may be faint, like a blurry, whitish haze, for instance. And yet this faint glow is the first thread. You see the amplifying effect of the larynx to develop it. Practice, 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 and the humble glow will turn into an illumination. Tips: phase 4, the space. A common experience when reaching perception of the purple space is that of an immense feeling of relief in the heart, as if a huge weight had suddenly been lifted. As soon as you contact the inner space, your heart feels immensely lighter. Some explanations for this will be found in section 3.1. Tips: phase 5, the vortex. The clockwise direction should not be taken as systematic and compulsory. As always, you have to follow the energy of the instant, and that may sometimes make you spin backwards and anti-clockwise. Nevertheless, when no particular wind takes you backwards, it is preferable to move forwards and clockwise. The vortex is both a vortex and a tunnel at the same time. It is preferable not to have fixed expectations as to what it should look like. Let the perception arise by itself gradually. Spinning in the space leads to an elaborated science of vortices, through which one can travel far in space and time. This introduces a form of traveling in which the purpose is not to project yourself outside your body, but to go so deep inside that there is nothing left to get out of. The vortex effect that leads from one space-time to another is used intensively in ISIS, Thekler vision techniques of regression. Approach the vortex with great respect and wonder, as you will approach an archangel eons older than you, and it will talk you into extraordinary mysteries. Thoughts during meditation. If thoughts arise during meditation, do not pay attention to them, just follow the process. You will soon notice that a strong vibration between the eyebrows tends to quieten the mind, and significantly slow down its continuous flow of thoughts. So none to fight mentally against the thoughts. Just don't focus your attention on them. Each time you get distracted by a thought, simply go back into the eye and continue the exercise. Persist in the process, and as the third eye develops, thoughts will automatically become less and less of a problem. Past a certain level of development, the third eye gives the capacity to get completely out of the mind and thus out of the thoughts at will. Often, when the level of thoughts becomes disturbing, one can quieten them down by intensifying the throat friction, which has the action of reinforcing the vibration in the eye. But remember that in our meditation, the purpose is not to make the mind silent, a notoriously hopeless exercise, but to build the third eye. Once this is achieved, thoughts won't matter anymore. Synopsis of the third eye meditation preparation. Sitting with your back vertical, 1 throat friction plus vibration in the larynx, 2 throat friction plus vibration between the eyebrows, 3 throat friction plus light between the eyebrows, 4 space, 5 spinning in the space, the vortex non-technique, just awareness above the head, suggested times for each phase. For a 30-minute meditation, 5 minutes for each of the 5 phases, plus 5 minutes above the head. For a 60-minute meditation, Phase 1, 5 minutes. Phase 2, 10 minutes. Phase 3, 10 minutes. Phase 4, 10/15 minutes. Phase 515 20th minutes. 5 minutes above the head. For a 10-minute meditation, take roughly 2 minutes for each phase. Do not neglect Phase 1, even when short of time, for it is an essential part of the process. More humming or buzzing. This technique uses the humming sound we practiced in section 2.4. Sit with your back straight and become aware in the throat. Repeat phases 1, 2, and 3 of the third eye meditation, using humming or buzzing instead of the throat friction. Then let yourself be immersed in the space, as in phases 4 and 5, using humming sound from time to time to penetrate deeper into space. Tip: these humming sounds provide a powerful way to project yourself into the space. Don't hesitate to have recourse to them whenever you are disturbed by thoughts or mental activity during your meditation. How to organize your practice. During the first days of your practice, do as much meditation as you can, repeating the first opening practice section 3, 2, and sing the third eye meditation 3, 7, as well as its equivalent with humming sounds 3, 8, and any other techniques you may pick up from the rest of the book. This strong initial imprint will make it easier to follow the rest of the process. Then a good way to proceed is to spend some time every morning practicing the third eye meditation 3, 7, and other exercises. For instance, meditate for 20 or 30 minutes, then practice the channel release exercises chapters 4, 6, and 8 for 10 minutes, then techniques on seeing chapters 5 and 7 for 10 minutes. Then techniques on protection chapters 18 and 20 for 10 minutes. Do a night practice chapters 13, 14, 15 every evening before going to sleep, and possibly in the afternoon or early evening. For instance, see if you are tired after coming home from work. If you have more time, it is certainly possible and beneficial to devote longer periods to the exercises. Yet it should be clear that clear vision techniques have been designed for those who live in the world. They do not invite you to withdraw from your activities, but to start performing them with a new awareness. This will be discussed in chapter 9. To succeed, the secret is not so much to spend long hours meditating, but to incorporate more and more of these practices into each of your daily activities. The cornerstone of our method is to maintain a permanent awareness in the eye between the eyebrows, whatever you are doing apart from sleeping. This does not refer to the light or the space, which are to be kept for meditation times, but by permanently keeping an awareness of some vibration between the eyebrows, you will achieve a double purpose. On the one hand, you will gradually become more present in your actions and centered. On the other hand, your third eye will be nurtured by your awareness and develop into a powerful center of energy. So all the techniques of this book are to bear guarded as occasions to cultivate a new awareness. The first and main benefit of our techniques of vision is that to implement them, you have to remain aware and present between the eyebrows. If you are short of time, you can very well follow the process indicated in this book by meditating technique 3.7 only 5 to 10 minutes every morning and incorporating the other practices into your daily routines. But these 5 tense minutes of morning meditation are essential for the development of your third eye. If your schedule is such that your practice time is in the evening and not in the morning, still try to keep the 5 tense minutes of morning meditation at any cost, for they secure a reconnection of Yori, which completely modifies your energy for the whole of the day. Whatever format you decide to adopt for your practice, remember that this part of the path has to do with building, subtle body building. The more you practice, the quicker the building will be achieved. The mysteries of the space. While practicing ISIS, the clear vision techniques of regression, it is not uncommon to experience the condition of the embryo during the very first days that follow conception. The fetus can felt bathing in the purple space. The purple space is all around it, like a sea. The embryo is very tiny, and the space around is felt to be immense. This space is no different from the purple space that you perceive in your eye in the 4th and 5th phases of third eye meditation. That's all in this video for today.